Hey guys, it's Thursday, March 9th, and this is Newswave. So the first thing we're talking about today is a game coming out on the Switch that was previously supposed to be there at launch, but got pushed a little bit, and that is, of course, Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. It has been confirmed at this point that it is coming out March 17th. And this was confirmed over on Nicholas Inc., their Twitter handle, and actually they took pictures of the game, the cartridge case, and a manual. Thank you for putting a manual in there. Being all put together in the factory. It's going down the little assembly line in some of their pictures, and you just see all of these games getting finished and completed. So it is showing up March 17th, so a week and a half from now we'll be able to play it. I have played it, of course, on at least Binding of Isaac in general on Steam several times. I also have it on my Vita, but I do think it'll look really nice on the Switch's 720p, 6-inch screen with those color depth and everything. I look really, really good. So I will probably still get it on the Switch. I would like to get a physical copy. I do like that these indie developers are starting to put games out physically, although places like Japan are getting exclusive ones like I Am Setsuna, but because the Switch is region free, you could just buy it over on Amazon Japan and have it shipped over to you using Prime shipping and get it in a couple days. So thank you at least for making this system region free so we can have the choice to get it. I Am Setsuna is in complete English on that cartridge from Japan, so you can get it physically, but this is great. I hope more indie companies put these games on physical cartridges and sell them to Switch owners. I think it's a really cool idea for collectors. And with that, let's stick with the Switch for a minute. We did find out, of course, before the launch that media apps, streaming apps, Netflix, Hulu, stuff like that, YouTube even, not showing up on the Switch at launch. And this was kind of a big gripe for a lot of people, big criticism by a lot of others. It didn't affect me personally, but that does not mean it won't affect other people who maybe they just want to kick back and watch Netflix when they're on the plane on their Switch. You never know. But in this case, it does seem like that they are at least trying to get these apps on the Switch sooner than later. And this was in an interview over with Reggie speaking to the Washington Post yesterday morning. And in that interview, Reggie Fils-Aimé, who is the president of Nintendo of America, had a few words to say to them, which kind of talked about these streaming apps. And in this interview, he said, "We're talking to a range of companies about other services, companies like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, things that will come in time. In our view, these are not differentiators. What differentiates us is the way you play with the Nintendo Switch and what you can play, and that will continue to be our focus into the future as we continue driving this platform." So, big surprise, this isn't a big priority for Nintendo to put these streaming services like Netflix, like Hulu, even Amazon. I assume that might be Amazon Prime streaming service, what they're referring to there, but I get why some people may want those there. It does sound like that they will get there eventually. It seems more like Nintendo is more focused on maybe trying to get third parties on board or get indie developers on board and focus on games right now rather than streaming services that are really on every device. What he's saying there is if we put Hulu and stuff on there, that's great, but that's not what's going to make us different from other companies or other devices. And right now they just want to be as different as possible. I get that. Resources for getting games on this system that you can't play portably anywhere else, like Rhyme, for example, which is coming out, Ukulele. You can't play those portably anywhere else but the Switch, so when they're out, there you go. That's a big deciding factor. But I'll keep an eye on the entire thing with Netflix and Hulu and stuff coming to the Switch, so you will find out, as long as you keep up Newswave, when that stuff is coming over. And we got more sales figures around Japan. Of course, we already know that the Switch itself sold over 300,000 units in Japan, but we did get a much more accurate list of the games and how well they all sold. I think it was 2 days ago we found out that Horizon Zero Dawn had outsold Zelda in the UK, and to me that wasn't a surprise, only because the UK and Sony, that whole European region all over there gets along with Sony well. I mean, it's a very popular platform over there. Sony has owned the entire European market for quite a while now. I mean, that's their go-to place. Well, Nintendo's go-to place is Japan, and guess what? In Japan, Zelda outsold Horizon Zero Dawn by a hefty amount. Really, this shouldn't be surprising, although, if you know Japan and Zelda, believe it or not, Japan does not buy Zelda as much as people do over in the States or other places in the world. I think the only reason Zelda sold so well in Japan is because the Switch offers them portability with a game like Zelda, and Japan loves portable systems. I mean, this is it right here. The DS really, really took off in Japan because of this, and Nintendo's always done handheld well because Japan always backs their handhelds. That's the way it is. And in this case, if you have a game like Breath of the Wild able to be played portably, Japan, who did latch on the Switch, obviously, 300,000 units, you're going to buy Zelda. I mean, that's like the game to buy if you're getting Zelda. I'm sure Bomberman sold well over there as well, but let's be clear here, guys. Right now, the Switch, if you buy a Switch, you're probably buying Zelda, and it shows here because the number one seller in Japan is Breath of the Wild at 187,379 units sold through. The next one below that, Horizon Zero Dawn, go figure. That is 116,997 units. Guess what the one right below that is? 1-2 Switch. Seriously, 1-2 Switch. But it's another game you buy on the Switch. If you get the Switch, maybe you get 1-2 Switch, you get Zelda. That one sold in at 79,536. Right below that was Zelda Breath of the Wild on the Wii U. So Breath of the Wild placed twice in the top 5, so because that'd be 1, 2, 3, and then 4. And the Wii U version sold 44,602, which brings the total, obviously, of those two together above 200,000, which means that Breath of the Wild combined outsold Horizon Zero Dawn by 100,000 units. So I think at this point, it's pretty clear that Horizon Zero Dawn and Zelda will be battling it out. I do think Zelda probably will sell more lifetime than Horizon Zero Dawn. I don't think that's a shock at all because it is Zelda. If you're getting the system, you're getting Zelda. Even if you get the Switch 2 years from now, you're buying that Zelda game. I mean, let's be clear here, especially if you don't have a Wii U. You're not going to go out and buy a Wii U to play Zelda. You're going to go out and buy a Switch to play Zelda. So yes, Zelda will still sell for a long time, whereas, let's be honest, in a year, 2 years, Horizon Zero Dawn will probably start to kind of fade out. It'll end up on store shelves for $15 to $20 just because games depreciate so fast nowadays. The one company that does not depreciate their games is Nintendo. Zelda will probably stay at a full $60 for probably about 2 years. So it'll be more interesting when the United States numbers and then the other regions of the world come out with Zelda sales compared to Horizon Zero Dawn. I have to say the United States will be the most interesting to see how it sold opening week. And we found out more news about Rime, the game that was announced. Looks like an interesting third-person platformer puzzle-style game. But we did find out it is coming out May 26th, but the Switch version will ship later on. They did not give us an exact date or time. They just said it will be shipped and released slightly after, which I assume would probably push it sometime into June, but we'll have to wait and see. Although there was one other really interesting bit that they did release, it's that Rime will be $10 more on the Switch as opposed to the other consoles. And when asked by Eurogamer as to why there's a $10 difference, $10 more on the Switch, Greybox said this: "We set prices for our products based on the costs of development and publishing for each specific platform. Though with the added freedom to take the adventure anywhere using the Switch's portable functionality, investigating the use of Switch-specific features, but we cannot confirm anything at the moment." And if you look at it, it seems like kind of a bad reason. They're saying because the Switch adds a portability feature, you can take it with you as well, it should cost more money because the development is more. That seems a little odd considering games like Disgaea 5 are no different price-wise to its PS4 counterpart. When that came out, there's quite a few. Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2 do not appear to be different prices, so there's some interesting... That's very interesting to hear the Rime publisher say that. I'm not really sure what the deal is there. Their answer was very, very murky at best, so we're going to have to see. I think they kind of got caught in this interview with Eurogamer, and they just had to give them the PR spin or run around where there's no clear answer. They just kind of say facts to you, and then you just, as an interviewer, you're supposed to move on. But I don't think they know why it's going to cost more yet, or maybe they do. Maybe they had to hire another studio to help them develop for the portable aspect. I don't know. We'll just have to wait for more information. All we know right now is it's coming out later on the Switch, and it's going to cost $10 more on the Switch. And today, PlayStation released the 4.5 update, the one we heard about a month ago. Looked at a bunch of benchmarks. This is the one that will add boost mode for PS4 Pro users, and it will also add the ability to use hard drives. 2.5-inch hard drives will work. Anything USB 3 is good. I would get at least a terabyte or up. You plug it in, it should prompt you. You then set it up, and you can move stuff to the hard drive to save space on your main system. Now, of course, everyone's been clamoring for this boost mode because it's supposed to actually give you power with your PS4 Pro. It's a big reason people bought it, was to actually use the additional power. I think the reason it was in beta for so long was because they wanted to work out all the bugs with boost mode. There were a lot of games that were crashing or acting sporadically, so I'm fine with them doing this to test. Now, PS4's update 4.5 will add other things as well, including voice chat through remote play, then some other features for their app interactive with the system itself, so you can do things on the phone like send friend requests, stuff like that. Just other things to kind of fine tune that. But obviously the big thing is boost mode and hard drive support. And this next bit of news I wasn't even going to talk about because it's makes no sense, but everyone is talking about it all over the internet. It's everywhere right now for some weird reason. And that's apparently that Sony is coming out with the PlayStation 5 next year. And what really happened here is an analyst who does market research from, apparently this is Macquarie Research, this is Damien Thong, apparently came up with the idea that, hey, Sony should release the PS5 because it'll make Sony a ton of money next year, and it's going to be 10 teraflops. Apparently the PS5 is coming out next year, based on the internet. No, the PS5 should not come out next year. That is a bad idea. It makes no sense. Sony would then throw away all of the R&D that they used to design the PS4 Pro would go out the window. It would be deemed completely unneeded. I don't know what this analyst thinks is happening. I would go more along with Michael Pachter's prediction that would place the PS5 sometime at the end of 2020. That makes a lot more sense because that at least gives the PS4 Pro roughly 3 full years to do its thing and actually get some of the R&D money back through sales, because the PS4 Pro has not sold outstanding amounts of units. It's sold okay, but the regular PS4 still sells. So why would you go and make another system that would then play different games? It wouldn't play the same games, but it would at least be backwards compatible. And now you're going to have a group of people who bought the PS4 Pro, like myself, who would be really frustrated with you, Sony, so don't do that. Also, I don't know if this analyst understands what it takes to get to 10 teraflops in a system. I don't think that's even possible at a good price point until 2020. So I think the analyst just saw that, 10 teraflops would make sense against the Scorpio's 6 teraflops. Listen, if Microsoft had to wait a year to get 6 teraflops within reason price-wise, and it's still going to be $500 to $600, trust me, it's not going to be $400, how would Sony get a 10 teraflop machine out the following year, literally a full year after that, and have it make sense price-wise? It wouldn't. It just wouldn't. The 1080 it's $500 now, and that is like a 6 teraflop card or so. So no, it's not going to happen. The PlayStation 5 is still quite a ways off. Don't worry about it. And I just don't think this analyst really understands gaming or what it takes to actually make a machine of that caliber. And we also got our first look at Shadow of War. This was yesterday. They put the full gameplay trailer up on YouTube, and I gotta tell you, this game looks good. So in the gameplay trailer, we do see you as the player command an entire army to attack a siege, and you do things like use your big to break through the front doors while you climb up over. You have people putting bombs inside that you blow up to flank by going through the one wall, and it's so much cool stuff going on. I think there's a lot of possibilities. It looks very open-ended for just raiding one little siege, and then it keeps going, and it just looks really cool. If you have not seen the gameplay trailer, go check it out. It's like 16 minutes long, so it actually shows you a fair amount of gameplay there, and it looks great. It's not going to be out till later on this year, I believe, but it looks like it'll be fun. It looks like it's more of the same of Shadow of Mordor, which is a good thing because that game was great, but I do think the Nemesis system could have used a little more. In this case, it looks like you'll be building allies that will then build their own relationships with you, your enemies that you're fighting, because remember, your enemies can get away and then build their army up further or become stronger, or remember how you attacked them before. So there's a lot there, I think. I think they still have a lot to show us as well, even after showing us 16 minutes of gameplay of them raiding a siege. And the last bit of news kind of caught me off guard a little bit. I saw this news as I was finishing up Newswave, about to go on air here, and it's pretty funny. So I'm going to show this to you. You guys can let me know what you think down in the comments. So we had a new game announced today for the PS4. It's called Late Shift. It's coming out in April, and it is an interactive FMV or full motion video game. The idea here, it is a crime thriller. It's, like I said, full motion video. So what you do is you go through, you watch it, and then you decide what to do. Whether it's something like, for example, they have someone being held up in a parking garage, and you decide if you want to drop the pepper spray or you want to hold it. There's a lot of stuff. Apparently it branches in all different types of paths. They did get, from what they're saying, Michael R. Johnson, who wrote the 2009 film Sherlock Holmes, to help out and write this entire thing, and they are saying that they shot it all over London, and it's supposed to be a large crime thriller that is supposed to keep you engaged and have multiple endings. The game itself is supposed to have 180 decisions in total, again, branching in different paths, different endings, tied to who you want to keep alive, who dies, who comes out on top at the end. And from what they're saying, there's going to be rewards for getting every path in the game, platinum trophies. But there's no real gameplay. You're just deciding a movie. Some people probably like that, though. I know there was a big comparison to Plumbers Wear Ties or something from way back in the day. I think it was on the CDI, but I don't think it's going to be anything like that. This actually looks high quality. So I'll be more interested to see what the price will be, because this is not a full game, obviously. It's more just a movie, but it will be interesting. That's out next month, so about a month or so from now. They just said April, but I'll keep you guys up to date when the actual release date is on it. Maybe we can actually do this on stream, depending on what they do for copyright. I don't know. That's it for Newswave today, guys. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know what you think about any of the stuff we talked about today, like Late Shift, for example. Let me know what you think of that one. I'm sure you guys will be very kind to that in the comments. Let me know what you think about Zelda and Horizon Zero Dawn going back and forth here in sales. I do think Zelda probably took the West as well. I do think, obviously, the UK is more on board with Sony stuff. It shows in Japan that Japan does back Nintendo pretty much all the time. And also let me know what you think about Netflix going to the Switch. Do you want it, or do you just not care? Let me know what you guys think down below. I will see you next time.